Hey, what's up guys? My name is Moda and welcome back to the Mining Stacker YouTube channel. Today's video, we finally do have official pricing info for those new Alphapex Scrypt ASICs, the DG2 and the DG2 Plus. We're going to talk about the price point. We're going to talk about the new information we have. We're going to compare it to the others to kind of see if it makes sense and how it stacks up. Okay? If that sounds good, guys, stay tuned. Let's get right to this thing. So it's going to be a relatively short one because we're going to get right to it. This is something we've been waiting for. So this is the official MSRP. This isn't from resellers. This is directly from Alphapex. Here we go. DG2, 18 gigahash, 3,960 watts, 0.22 joules a megahash, $7,560. Not bad. It's arguably a little bit better specs than the current L9, just depending on the variant. DG2 Plus, 20.5 gigahash, right? So this thing is a beast. 3,900 watts, 0.19 joules a megahash, so very efficient. $10,000. Does that premium make sense over the DG2? $2,500 for about 10% more hash, 10% better efficiency. To each their own, right? Some people just like to buy the better unit. Arguably, the formula we've seen with Alphapex, at least previously, was the better version had more chips that were clocked a little bit lower, right? So longevity-wise, there may be something there that would kind of, for me at least, would be the more preferred unit, depending on the markup. Now, the biggest downfall. In all these promo events, they had some kind of like promo event overseas. This is the information they're giving us, though. They did not put shipping windows and any of the dates. And I did even actually tweet them that day. No response. To me, they did that shit on purpose, which is a little bit shady, because it looks like it's not going to come out until towards the end of the year, right? So some of the resellers are listing it as early as November. I'm not sure I'm buying that. Miner Bros has Q1 2026, right? So almost regardless, it's at least anywhere from a 5 to 8 month wait. Okay, so even before looking at the price, massive, massive turnoff. Okay, reason being is that typically in this cycle, when is the peak? Right around the time or probably right after this thing's going to ship. Anywhere from October to November, maybe December, somewhere in that time frame. Maybe it goes a little bit beyond, but somewhere in that time frame. These are the peak times to be stacking. And you're essentially wasting the rest of this potential on a pre-order. That alone doesn't make sense. The only time it could make sense, maybe if it's a significant enough discount over the competition, right? Something we saw similar with Bitmain actually early on in the L9's release. They did do pre-orders all the way out through, because again, this was around September, October. They did pre-orders all the way out until January. And it was a pretty significant discount. That January batch was somewhere in the $6,000 range, when spot it was anywhere from 9 to 10K. So at that point, pretty good savings over that period of time. The difference being, though, is that there was still, realistically, in the bear market, you still had potential time to stack during that time. So because of that, was a little bit more appealing. Different story here, right? This is potentially towards the end of this thing. If we look at the previous cycle, when it was the peak, November. Doge's peak was actually before, though. They're the ones who peaked in the spring. But regardless, you can see the downtrend starting in November. I mean, this is when it literally just starts cascading down. Will it repeat, though? We have no idea. But again, I'm going to look at previous history, worst case scenarios. Those are the types of things I want to factor in, right? So even before comparing the price, that wait, 5 to 8 months, seems ridiculous, right? So now when we compare the price, though, currently as is, again, the DG2, very similar to the L9, even price-wise. Again, $8,300 for the 16 gigahash spot available now, which to me arguably is overpriced. I mean, we know Miner Bros is anywhere from 10 to 20% over. And they actually have it cheaper, right? They have it $82.99, same price, but they do have like coupon codes, right? So the fact that it's on there, it's kind of overpriced even coming from Nhash. So hopefully they kind of adjust, because typically that's the reason we like to reference them, is because they are usually a lower price leader, but not this time, or not right now at least. So again, just a direct comparison, very similar units. It doesn't make any kind of sense for a like $700 savings to wait 5-6 months, right? The amount of revenue you'd be losing in theory because you're not mining during this time is massive, right? Because again, These are kind of the last few months potentially to really be stacking, to make it count, to make it worthwhile. Okay. And then comparing this guy, yes, it's a more superior unit, but again, it's more of the same. The price to mega hash is going to be more here also, so not enough of a savings, right? So looking at it from the business perspective, to me, also extremely weird, right? To me, they're missing a very critical time right now. Arguably, Bitmain is at a big weak point right now. Sentiment is extremely bad. Reliability on S21s has not been great. Reliability on a lot of the altcoin ASICs has not been great. Profitability on all of them has not been great. Okay, a lot of them are overdue for price reductions, for newer models. Nothing has really came out. They've been really slacking on the promo side. So to me, they're at a big weak point, which means this is prime time for these other manufacturers to step up to the plate and take advantage of the situation. So for example, with Alphapex, it would have been extremely smart for them to come in aggressive with that price, aggressive enough for us to want to take that risk to go ahead of the time instead of ordering an L9. But at this point, if it's about the same price, I'm going to go with the L9 that's already been proven. It's available here. It's been durable. It's been reliable. It's been out almost a year also, right? These units are barely coming in competition with the L9, and it's still 5 to 8 months away. Okay, like the benefit here would have been if they would have came in extra aggressive with the price. The DG2 under 6K, DG2 Plus under 8K. Somewhere in that range, right? Something to make it more appealing, because when I see similar price points, I'm going with the L9 all day, right? I'm not going to wait 5 to 8 months when anything can happen, delays can happen, and you could potentially 100% any of this action, right? A lot of risk factors, especially ordering that far ahead of time, right? So this is not something, at least for me, that I necessarily have to dive too far into, because to me, that's an immediate turnoff, right? And the fact that they're also releasing it, at least the information this far ahead of time, also seems kind of silly, because they're putting a huge target on their back, right? Bitmain with their L9, they now know what they got to release prior to this thing releasing in order to kind of beat them out, both in terms of overall power, efficiency, and price points, which you know they're going to beat them in at least certain aspects. And it's going to be extremely weird if they don't release anything prior to this thing, whether it's a L9 Pro, L9 Plus, or a whole new L11. I would be extremely surprised if they didn't do that. And again, Alphapex kind of just put that big old target on their back by announcing these things so prematurely. Okay, I mean, I'm sure they have their reasons, maybe because they're trying to appeal to larger audiences in terms of like farms or companies. Maybe they're looking for bulk orders. That's why they're doing this. But from the perspective of like a pleb miner, a home miner, it's really weird, right? So to each their own. Again, we don't have to do anything in depth, just immediately eyeballing it. To me, I would definitely 100% not pre-order that far ahead of time for pretty much non-existent discount, right? And again, even if this thing were available now, I would honestly still go with the L9. The L9 has been proven. It's been fairly reliable. I would go with the more proven unit at this point, right? The Alphapex needs to give me a reason to want to go with a lesser known manufacturer, and this isn't enough for me, at least, right? Kind of to each your own. Some people are tired of Bitmain's crap, which I get that also, but at least the L9 has been kind of the shining light during this time, not only in terms of profitability, but also in terms of reliability, right? For a lot of you guys who did order them, shout out to you guys who got them in cheap on those cheaper batches, made out well. They've been holding up, right? So that at least we can say. But kind of a weird one. Again, they didn't give us official shipping windows. We're going to have to wait and see officially. But again, consensus from the retailers, because I'm sure they got the information. I'm sure they gave it to them at the event. I just find it extremely like why didn't you just put it on your thing, right? And the reasons, because I'm sure they would probably gotten some backlash, right? But regardless, though, let me know in the comments, guys. What do you guys think? Do you guys think this is a good deal so far? So far, they've been holding up pretty well. But again, for that kind of wait, again, we've all seen just even a few months. Like for me, even pre-ordering like 2 months ahead of time, a lot can change, right? Even just think of what's happened now these past 3 months. Look at how much shit has happened it's like a whole different world, right? Now imagine 6 months on top of that and the potential peak of this thing and what may happen. Again, a lot of crap can happen. And if we look at previous history, it's not a good look after November, December. Okay. So that's just my opinion on it. Again, I'm here to look at it from a whole miner perspective in terms of profitability. Does it make sense? Does the price point make sense? And for me, based on what's happened, looking at things, again, I'm not here to sell you units. I'm not here to show you any manufacturers. I'm here to see if this thing is worthwhile to make money. Looking at all the facts doesn't make any kind of freaking sense, right? Let me know in the comments though, guys. What do you guys think? Would you guys be willing to wait 5 to 8 months for this kind of price and performance? Do you think that's logical? Do you think it was a good move on their part, announcing it this freaking prematurely, giving those local tech vibes? Let me know in the comments, guys. Please comment, like, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I really do appreciate it. I am out.